covering Guyana from coast to coast.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Berbice 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio. This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio 99.1 FM.
Good evening. Welcome to this evening's newscast on Kaieteur Radio. I am Kevin Smith. Let's get to the news in detail. Guyana's Foreign Secretary to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Robert Prasad, believes that the diaspora cannot be excluded from any development plans for the country with regards to its emerging oil and gas sector. This, Prasad opined, is given the enormous potential that exists in the diaspora and not domiciled in country. He was at the time engaged in a panel discussion on labor and migration. He announced that Guyana is currently pursuing a migration policy for the country that would guide the inflows of the domestic labor market and deal with inherent issues of citizenship, pressing the incorporation of members of the diaspora as a priority in national developmental plans. Prasad underscored that the diaspora is teeming with not only skills currently in demand in the country, but with capital support that would be honed for domestic investments. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Labor is currently in the process of updating its human resources and other capacities in order to deal with issues related to the influx of Venezuelans, Brazilians, Chinese, and other expatriates. Key among these, according to the Substantive Minister, Joseph Hamilton, is the need for equal pay for equal work for both locals and foreigners. The minister made this remark while he was a guest on a panel discussion hosted by the American Chambers of Commerce in Guyana. He said that the ministry is working to ensure that the laws of Guyana are utilized to ensure that employees are paid their fair share while working in the country, regardless of sector. Meanwhile, ever since Guyana discovered billions of barrels of oil in 2015, there have been intense public debates over proposed local content policies and possible legislation. There has, however, been little focus on building domestic capacity in order for Guyanese to be able to engage the industry in a meaningful way, or to prepare them to take on high-end jobs that will emerge over the coming years in the still nascent industry. This supposition was vocalized this past week by Associate Professor of Mathematics at the Medgar Evers College in New York, USA, Dr. Terence Blackman. He also said that oil will come and go, but if a country truly intends to capitalize on this resource, in the long term, its best bet would be to invest its earnings from the new resource in the nation's traditional agriculture sector. Professor Blackman noted that while he thinks agriculture is an important sector, it has not always been an appealing prospect for very many people in the country. Be that as it may, the US-based Guyanese said it must be recognized that the food import bill for the region alone represents an enormous opportunity for the country. Professor Blackman recalled that at the time he addressed his mind to the matter of Guyana's spending of its oil resources, the regional food import bill was some $4 billion. And now let's tell you the heinous killings were... My apologies, let's tell you that Guyana has set about the development of its emerging oil and gas industry following the discovery of commercial quantities of hydrocarbons in the Stabroek Block more than 5 years ago. But it appears for the first time that young Guyanese are not that enthused by the oil boom. What is also daunting is the fact that this lack of interest is directed to other extractive industries as well. Making this troubling observation was Natural Resources Minister Vikram Bharat, who over the weekend oversaw the commencement of a Natural Resources Apprenticeship Program. That initiative is aimed at capitalizing on the opportunity to explore various fields of the sector through training. And now let's tell you, since rejecting a proposal by her ex-lover who recently got out of prison to rekindle their relationship, a mother of 6 has been living in constant fear that each day might very well be her last. From the moment she turned him down, the woman said her former partner has been using his free time to emotionally torture her. During an interview, Sandy, not her real name, a school teacher and a part-time bread vendor, stated that 39-year-old Stravo Evans of Alboystown, Georgetown, has been harassing her in person and over the phone. It is understood that Sandy and Evans had shared a 2-year relationship before the former ended it on the grounds of abuse. According to reports, on October 18, 2019, the woman had informed the police that Evans was threatening to kill her after she ended their romance. And moving on, DJ Raw Gold is now on the run after he stabbed his selector to the face on Saturday with a broken Guinness bottle during an argument they had in a local radio studio. It is understood that the wounded selector goes by the name of Yannick. The stabbing incident reportedly took place around 20 hours 45 in the Hits and Jams radio studio located in Queenstown. According to police, Yannick was allegedly stabbed 4 times, and the victim told investigators that when he arrived in the studio, he began talking to Rockgold. But the conversation reportedly erupted into an argument over work. And that brings us to the end of this evening's newscast. I am Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Kaieteur Radio.
Covering Guyana from coast to coast.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Berbice 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
It is now 19 hours 7 in Guyana. Coming up, an excerpt from the Glenn Lal Show. Tell it as it is. Remember, the Glenn Lal Show is hosted this evening at 19 hours 20 every Wednesday and Friday rather, and a rebroadcast of the previous show at 11 a.m. the following day.
But look at what is happening in this country. 6 years now. The whole world is talking about Guyana. Guyana is the best thing in the universe now. And not a single word you're hearing about our